Hey everybody, welcome back for another video. Today we're going to be talking about Under the Influence because there are some wild updates coming out of Venice, Italy that I thought I should touch on because I did a video talking about Venice, Italy recently, so should be interesting. And at the end of the video I'll also be talking about a specific artifact that can be found at Colonial period sites that I think might be worth looking at. So let's get into it. Now, this image here is a older image of the winged lion of Saint Mark in Venice, Italy. And in a previous video I did called Unknown Origin, talked about how the founding of Venice is questionable and how they found an ancient Roman road discovered at the bottom of the Venice lagoon, I think about 15 feet below present sea level. So there's a lot of mystery surrounding the origin of Venice, but there's also a lot of mystery surrounding this winged lion that sits atop that giant pedestal in St. Mark's Square. And turns out that when Napoleon entered Venice, he in essence brought an end to this republic, the Republic of Venice. And the Republic of Venice was purportedly in existence for 1100 years, I guess, according to the mainstream. One of the things that Napoleon is said to have done is to destroy almost all of the statues of winged lions in Venice. I wasn't aware of this little fact. And yeah, this republic came to an end. And why this is all very interesting to me is because there was an update that is very recent coming out of Venice, Italy, and there have been studies done looking at this lion and some of the materials that constitute it. And they now believe that the lion of St. Mark's Square in Venice is actually Chinese. And there was this multidisciplinary study that indicated that the statue is most likely an altered Chinese tomb guardian, and that it most likely from the Tang period from China. And they have been able to determine that the copper is from the mines in the lower Yangtze River basin. So that is a bit of a twist because it's associated with Christian sort of symbol and Saint Mark, but it may indeed be from China. So what a twist. Now, this opened up a whole avenue of looking into things from a different perspective, because when you look at some of these other Venices of the North, there are several cities in Northern Europe referred to as Venice of the North, like Amsterdam's one of them, and St. Petersburg is considered a Venice of the North. And I touched upon in a previous video, you have also all these lions in St. Petersburg. Why are there so many lions in St. Petersburg? And just speaking about this potential Chinese connection, there are also quite a few of these lions that appear Chinese in origin. These are lions on the Petrovskaya embankment, and I believe there are several others throughout St. Petersburg. Now, these statues, I believe, are from the early 1900s, but just still their presence seems a bit odd. But now that we have an understanding that this statue itself might be from China, associated with Venice, and we're seeing lions and also these Chinese lions in St. Petersburg, I thought that was really interesting. So I started looking at some of these Chinese guardian lions, and these are just two from the Forbidden City. The one on the left is, we're told, from the Ming era, and the one on the right from the Qing era. But I never really studied these lions, and you can't help but notice they have the iconic paw on a sphere, which is very reminiscent of the Medici lions. Now, I know the Medicis, they emigrated at one point to Florence, and very influential family, which isn't too far away from Venice, but it's just an odd symmetry here between these two iconic symbols and these Chinese guardians, and you have these Medici lions that appear very similar. And now knowing that this iconic statue in Venice is Chinese, it's just a really interesting avenue of research that I'll probably dig into. And this particular Medici statue is from St. Augustine, Florida. It's just a copy. There are many copies around the world of these Medici lions. Yeah, Venice is an interesting place. And I came across an article just talking about mysterious sculptures in the street streets of Venice. And you can see these faces in a lot of cities in Europe, even North America. And you can even find unique doorknobs, knockers for doors, and some of them in the appearance of Moors, the minute sculpted heads of the Moors of Venice. So a lot going on in Venice, but I just wanted to give you guys this update and this potential Chinese connection, which I will explore further, but I wanted to start the video off with that. And now I just want to move to the second part where I talk about these artifacts that can be found at a lot of early colonial period sites in North America, these lead bale seals, which in essence they were just attached to goods basically to communicate information such as their place of origin, their quality, size, circulation, and taxation. So they basically had a lot of information on them, and they can be found at a lot of these archaeological sites. And apparently the basic form and function of these has been the same since the Roman period. The use of these lead seals dates back all the way to the Roman period, in which they were used to record the movement of various goods throughout the empire. But what's of interest to me is that they're also associated with these early colonial period sites from the 16 and 1700s in North America. And I've seen these seals found in Alaska at the Russian-American company before it changed hands to the Americans. Apparently these seals that they've identified at this site, Castle Hill in Alaska, they were manufactured in the same manner like those of the ancient Roman and Byzantine empires. So really interesting. And when you look into the archaeological records, I came across articles talking about how, surprisingly, there's very little information about seals, especially those found in North America. And it appears as if the study is still in its infancy within the archaeological community. So that's very interesting to me, because I think there was some sort of destruction that brought an end to a lot of these early colonial period sites, but we're just given a different narrative. Again, all in my opinion. And in this article, the author just goes on to say, understanding the origin, purpose, and age of a seal from the colonial era can be quite challenging. So yeah, I'm intrigued by these particular artifacts. As mentioned, when I look at a lot of these early colonial period sites, they tend to be buried, but we get different explanations as to why. In Jamestown, we're told that they thought it had disappeared in the waters of the James River, rediscovered in 1996. And we're told in the case of Charleston that they intentionally buried it. And then in New Orleans, the colonial period is buried. I believe we're told it was largely due to a fire, but it's always the same results. And in my opinion, we're looking at a big event. And what I wanted to mention is in Arkansas, there was a French trading post, and it moved locations along the Arkansas River over the course of the 1700s, we're told. But one of the locations was called Fort Desha, and they found one of these seals with a date on them and a unit of measurement that I thought was interesting, because the unit of measurement is no longer used. It was the obverse of this particular seal is imprinted with a portion of the word Aoun. I'm not sure if I got that right, but it's a unit of measurement of length from the 1700s. Yeah, with the French Revolution, you get the metric system. So I'm always interested by these big transitions, which I think may be another means to explain away these changes in things like units of measurement. So I wanted to mention that. And this particular site where this seal came from, Fort Desha, it's in Desha County. And there was actually, speaking of Napoleon, there was another settlement associated with Desha County that's now long gone, and it's called the Old Town of Napoleon, the Arkansas Atlantis, the lost town of Napoleon. So in the same county as that fort, that French fort that was in essence lost to history, rediscovered in the 1960s, there's also a lost town called Napoleon, which I believe they said was established in the 1800s, but unfortunately in I think 1874 or by 1874 the waters of the river swallowed it up. But you can find maps of this lost city. This is a map from Napoleon, Arkansas, 1860, and as mentioned, by 1874, what was left of Napoleon was abandoned to the river. And even Mark Twain apparently talked about this lost city in this book called Life on the Mississippi. So a lot going on in Desha County, and I just thought I'd bring it up. It ties back to Napoleon. So very interesting stuff, but that's all I got for you for today. I just wanted to touch on these two things, and I want to give a big shout out to my channel members. Thank you for all your help and support. Greatly appreciated, as well as all my patrons. I really appreciate you as well, and thanks for all the help and support. So with that being said, until next time, take care. Bye.